Do you guys really think those horizontal toilets are all the rage? Because sometimes, like, I get it, the vertical toilets meaning like regular toilets and urinals. Because I've seen the science. I understand all the rage of like how toilets are like biologically not fit to like handle bowel movements and stuff. But every now and then I like feel it. You know what I mean? Every now and then I'll be sitting on my toilet, I'll be leaning over or something, or I'll just be in a particular position where I'm urinating or shitting, and I actually feel my bladder or colon being like pinched off. Does that make sense? Like I can legitimately tell that my poops are insufficient. And like sometimes I'll like flex my calves. I'll get on my tippy toes, which doesn't make any sense because I'm on the toilet. I'm sitting down. I'll get on my pinky toes, and it like legitimately helps me poop better. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it does make sense, but it doesn't make any sense. You smell me? I don't know. I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to use a horizontal toilet. I was in the Istanbul airport, and I saw it, and I went, "This would be a hilarious story for stream." Which, frankly, is the start or the thought process for too many stories of mine or ideas of mine. I tried the door, it was locked. What a fucking tragedy. My parents unironically have a squatty potty. I feel like my parents are very gullible. I feel like a lot of people are very gullible, especially in things they believe in, if that makes sense. They're old. They're very set in their ways at this point. So when they see something that backs up their value system, they're very willing to like back that thing and then buy that thing. And Squatty Potty is like right up their alley. It's like I mean, Squatty Potty's not that niche, but it's just niche enough that like, dude, you start talking about how about nature and like evolution and about how things are unnatural versus unnatural. My mom grabs onto that shit so fast. Be like, wait a minute. We definitely did used to poop when we squat. Like, we used to squat to poop instead of sit. It definitely makes sense that toilets are, like, unhealthy. I mean, they're not unhealthy. It's just not optimal. And it's like, okay, Mom, you had 4 fucking kids. Why didn't you do all of that drugless and also squatting, you fucking loving and caring mother? I don't understand. Like, what's the picking and choosing? You should get a doula next time. Back in the day, you would have another mother literally you'd be squatted down, deep squat, crouch down, legs open, spread eagle, and you'd have a fucking doula standing right behind you like a quarterback in a fucking football game with her hands out under your fucking cloaca, ready to receive your goddamn child. No drugs, no stirrups, no doctors, nothing. Just you and this woman. About to hike a kid. What happened? You don't want to be natural anymore? You don't want to fucking embrace God's gift? Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. I remember one time, which it's not, this one I'm iffy on. This one's I'm 50-50 on. I remember one time I expressed interest in being part of a science experiment, like in being part of drug trials for drugs and stuff. And by the way, at this point, I'm of the opinion that if you can do drug trials for money, you definitely should. It's just super worth, right? Because they don't do human trials unless they're like 99.9% sure that nothing is going to happen to you. Like for a drug to reach human trials, a lot of shit has to happen, right? It's very likely that nothing will happen to you. I know this now, but I remember I was getting a checkup right before I turned 18. I was getting one last doctor's appointment because my pediatrician's a girl boss. I expressed interest in being part of a science trial, and she's like, no, you're not doing that. And I'm like, why not? And she's like, you're not going to be a guinea pig for these fucking, for big pharma and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand. It's no big deal. And plus I get paid for it. And she's like, no. You're not, just not, let someone else be a guinea pig. And I'm like, all right, fine. And it's not the worst advice in the world, but it's also not the best advice in the world. It's neutral advice, which frankly, that type of advice, whichever way you want. If you want to be part of drug trials, more power to you. If you don't want to be part of drug trials, fair enough. That's one of the ones where it's like, hey, either way, you're not totally in the wrong. One thing you want to know, one thing I keep fighting myself back and forth on is being an organ donor. That one's more my dad than my mom. My dad thinks that if you're an organ donor, people are rooting for you to die, which, from the outside looking in, hilarious. The prospect that the second you fucking check the organ donor box, like people whose moms or dads or grandparents who are on the organ donor waiting list who are waiting for a heart or kidney and lung, the second you check that box, like God directs all those prayers at you negatively or something like that is hilarious, right? Because think about it, you're not an organ donor, you're not 18 anymore, you're not an organ donor, okay? And let's just say there's some 6-year-old kid and his siblings are praying that their father like gets the lung that they desperately need for an organ donor, right? They're praying, they're sitting on their knees on the hospital bed, praying to their God, whoever he may be, they may be. Right? They're like, please God, we just need another organ though. We just need a lung. Like we're so low on the organ donor list. Please just give us a compatible lung. And the second you check that organ donor box, God just starts putting all that negative karma towards you, where it's like, good fucking luck, baby. You get ready for the ride of your fucking life. I'm gonna start sending car accidents your way, fucking grenade, shrapnel, school shooting, fucking 6 consoles. It's hilarious that like all of a sudden that the second you check the organ donor box, people who are praying for their like, or people who want their family member to get an organ, they're technically praying for your downfall, is such a hilarious mindset. And it's low key, the lowest of keys. It's true. It's like, it's kind of true. If you think about it, it's kind of true. But also equally at the same time, if you know, are not like, I don't want to call my dad a fucking moron, but if you're not an idiot, you kind of realize that regardless of whether or not you check the organ donor box, you're probably going to die anyway. You checking or not checking the organ donor box isn't going to affect your survival rate. Because that's just like how my dad operates. He like believes in a universal karma, which I think I believe to a certain extent, but not to the extent that he does, I think. Dude, like hospital ethics boards are so cringe. Because like maybe it's a hot take, but the respect we give to dead bodies, it's too much. It's too much. I'm sorry. We give more respect to corpses than we do to living people. It's like so fucked up. And that might sound harsh, but like I have interacted, right? I want you to understand this. I have interacted with 24 corpses in my lifetime. 24. All right? I understand pretty thoroughly at this point, right? Because they really try to drill it into your head when you're in STEM, especially in a STEM that's like slightly healthcare related. They drill ethics into your head hard, right? And I understand 95% of ethics rules, but there are some ethics rules where you read into them and you're like, nah, man, I can't get behind that. That doesn't make any sense at all. Where like, oh, you need express consent to harvest organs? Why? Who fucking cares? Take that shit, man. What are they gonna use it for? I don't know. Unless the person explicitly stated that they don't want their organs harvested, we should be allowed to take them. True. I agree, and that's probably a way better solution than what I would suggest. I think opting out of a organ donor thing is a smarter thing than opting in.